was a woman that, in very ancient days, that did the haka initially in front of the warriors of their tribes to the enemies in preventing a war from happening. Well, there's a lot of people from Aotearoa that don't even know about it either, because it's some of the many stories that are not shared. And there's people like me in times to come, that will talk about the femininity of the Māori women, strength and power they had overcoming disputes or different difficulties. What has been created by the All Blacks and by the Māori All Blacks and by the Māori Sevens or the Kiwi Sevens is that the men have made haka a warrior energy over time, and that the feminine energy of creating tranquility and peace. At some stage somebody decided, a male decided, that it needed to be a warrior fighting haka rather than a peaceful one. However, the women would come out and in front of their men, the warriors of their tribes, and perform a haka to remind the men of where they come from, where they initially came from. And the only person that could do that was a woman, because from the mothers they were born. And so it was a haka about the creation, the development of them being in the womb, and then eventual birth, and that they came out through the woman's passageway. And without the woman, they would not be alive and present before them as their foe, rather than as their friend. Women were trying to incite not anger or challenging or fear, but to, through a ritual, remind the memory cells within the men that it is only through the women that they are given birth. And do they really want to die? Is it necessary? Can we not sit down and talk about it? But it's the same message and the same ritual of what Papatunuku, as we call her, Mother Earth, is trying to give to all her children. It's trying to prompt through various mediums and people throughout the world to remember where they came from, and that without her, Mother Nature, Mother Earth, without her they would not exist. Has it been out of whack lately? It's been out of whack for generations. And it was a school of thought that was implanted in my people way back before Aotearoa. Tangata whenua, I like to call myself rather than a Māori, because the word Māori and the meaning of Māori was not created by my people and by my race. The name that we called ourselves was Tangata Whenua, the people of the land, wherever we went. Influence of other cultures upon my people happened before we even arrived here. The patriarchal society and structures and hierarchy were in force long before my people came here. However, we still did have a few priestesses and chieftainesses which survived it, but then were finally whittled out. But in stories and songs, we still sing about that. But for my generation and those thereafter me, and possibly my mother's generation, was that it was like a story, a myth, like a taniwha being a myth, a legend, like Maori being a myth, a legend, but they were actually really living creatures, people in those positions, and what they did in everyday life were celebrated. Now they are told like fairy stories. Personally, I feel sad because things have become fairy stories and myths rather than actual lived experiences of my elders and those who have passed on before me. And certainly in my own experiences in this lifetime, personally, that I have had with taniwha, connecting with them and swimming with them and being with them and knowing them and understanding them and working with them. Would people in my generation think I was mad? Yes, of course, because those things are fairy tales. Do I believe that the world can possibly be turned upside down and not be any war or hate or fear or I'm better than you and I can do more than you and hierarchical stuff? Yes, absolutely. And I'm doing my bit to make that come about. Because I believe in truth. I believe that things are more than fairy tales, that there were deeper truths and experiences of the people who, in their time, what is written in fairy tale books in today's society was a lived experience and meant the world to them. That it was so rich and so pure that they didn't tell anybody for many years because they protected, like myself, protected special interactions and experiences with things beyond and much bigger than ourselves, a power, an energy, a way of being. What I believe is that my people will come, the tangata whenua will come back to an enriched way of knowing what is true to them, individually, as individuals, but also collectively as a whānau, as an extended whānau. For those who want to be on the negative way of looking things look absolutely hopeless and there's no way that things can turn around. But then there's those who are increasing in numbers every moment of every day, who are looking towards possibilities and positive way of living.
It requires a paradigm shift, doesn't it?
It does. It's huge. Each individual needs to make that decision or make that choice whether they want to make that shift. Some will and some won't. But I tell you, the numbers of those who will are going to be greater than the numbers who won't. And those who will carry the ones who won't.